Started hearing screaming.
Somebody laughed nervously. I think some people thought it might have been kids messing about or something.
Then we heard some more noises.
And we just started looking at each other like, what's going on? And it just started getting proper loud, like more.
Clearly it wasn't somebody messing around. The escort was with me, Adam. He looked at me and said, look, stay there. And he went to go and investigate.
I remember going downstairs, double-sided staircase, big posh staircase. I was suddenly just seeing Khan. Just started screaming, just shouting at him like, what are you doing, what's going on, sort of. And then obviously he's swinging for me now. So I'm just jumping back, basically trying to stay out of his way, looking for something to like defend myself with.
Then the screams continued, and kept going, and so I just thought, F it, I'll go and investigate. So I jumped up.
I remember this quite vividly because I stood up at the exact same time as Steve Gallant stood up, and we both ran across the hall.
He had a belt on. I didn't know if he was going to blow a belt. I didn't know what he was going to do. You could already see it, but he like just lifted his shirt up a bit more to like highlight it. But yeah, he just said, I'm just waiting for the police and I'm going to blow it. Told him to blow it then. Yeah, just said, blow it then.
At the top of the stairs, I turned and I instinctively was going to look for something to defend myself. I passed this dimly lit little corridor, and at the end were these two nearly 2 meter long narwhal tusks.
I saw somebody stood in the foyer with two big knives in his hands. I think about 8-inch knives, and they were strapped to his hand with tape. Suddenly, I turned to my side, and there was someone stood next to me with a narwhal tusk, holding it out towards me.
There was that moment where Steve and I just looked at each other in the eyes. We never even spoke or anything. And I just offered up the tusk, and he just looked at me and he went down for it. And there was kind of this shared experience. I was representing the Ministry of Justice. He was a life sentence prisoner. But at that time, we both had the same common goal. And that passing of the tusk was like passing of trust.
I was 28 years old. I was out drinking with my friends one night, and I received a phone call saying that my partner had been attacked. It was quite a vicious attack. So 9 days later, a friend invited me to go to one of the local pubs, another pub for last orders. Once I got to that pub, I was told that the person who had allegedly attacked my partner was inside the pub. So at this point, I'm now drunk. I'm angry. He's a violent man. You're a violent guy. You know, this is not going to go down very well. The intention was to give him a good at him, to get revenge for what I alleged he'd done to my partner. And indeed, when he came out of the pub, that's what happened. And he ended up dying as a result of that. If you look at what Usman did and look at what I did, ultimately both ways of living resulted in somebody losing a life. There's definitely some similarities there in terms of I was living my life in a certain way and I was influenced by certain behaviours which blinded me to my own behaviour. Thought it was all normal, thought I was on the right path. And no doubt Usman Khan was completely, utterly convinced that he was on the right path. And showed no hesitation whatsoever.
It was just instinct, I guess. It was instinct on the bridge. But I hate violence. The stomach just turns. I just hate violence. But yeah, I think it's a necessary evil sometimes, isn't it? Obviously, situations where you've got to defend yourself or defend the people you're with. Yeah, I know I was brought up well. My mum had morals. Instilled some in me as well. It's mad, you know, because I stayed on that burglary to try and stop any violence happening. I got a life sentence for it. And then I stayed on the bridge to try and stop some violence happening. I got totally treated differently. But in principle, it's the same sort of decision making. If I just get off and save myself, or do I try and save other people? Yeah, both instances detriment to myself. But in one, I'm considered a hero, and in another, I'm considered a murderer. Two very different sides of the coin.